I think I started watching AFC Bournemouth when I was about 12 years old.
I think first 1971, that's when my dad took me to the first game.
It's very much a local family type club. Small, intimate ground, but it generates that feeling of, yeah, there's always somebody there.
Yeah, I think so. Week after week there was buckets going around the ground, wasn't there? Everybody was putting money in buckets.
Loaned with never any expectation of getting it back.
Yeah.
Languishing in at the bottom of Division 2, we had two huge setbacks financially. The administration process, which resulted in an automatic 10-point deduction. It's really a sporting sanction.
The club's got 24 hours to survive. I think this time it was a case of, it really was, Jeff Mostyn, get your chequebook out, get your pen out. This is the last chance saloon. And, whatever people believe about, things that are put in the media to serve a purpose, I think that time it was really, really genuine. The club were on their last legs.
We were getting ourselves into a situation where we were just running out of suppliers, if you like, that we could go to get literally something as simple as the marker chalk for the pitch. The administrators came in, and obviously money was very, very limited. And basically, once they'd run out of the budget that was there, somebody else had to put more money into that budget for them to continue whilst they tried to find a buyer. So from our perspective of trying to work in those sort of circumstances, it was very difficult.
This is Gerald Krasner's monthly press conference, which under the administration of a Football League club, he was obliged to have a press conference every month to update the public. So I left home that day and we'd agreed that I wasn't going to, on this particular month, pay the cheque. Gerald sat down with me before. He said, "This is what's going to happen, Jeff. I need a cheque for £100,000, as you know. You will nod your head when I ask for it if you're going to pay it, and you will shake your head if you're not going to pay it. What I will do without any hesitation at all is liquidate the club live at the press conference." That's where we are. And I'm stood at the back of the room thinking, this is the end of this incredible football club. 125 years of history. Why has it actually landed on my doorstep that I've got the future of this football club in my hands? And he asked a question and I nodded. And when I got home, my wife said, "You don't have to say anything, I know exactly what you've done." I think it was probably the greatest decision that I've ever made, from buying the football club, which was the worst decision I'd ever made in my life, to making that decision to just continue for another short period of time. It gave the opportunity to find a couple of buyers, and the football club is where it is today.
Well, Eddie's been one of my best mates ever since he became a professional here. When I arrived in '92, Eddie was in the youth team. So by the time '93, '94 come around, he just got his first professional contract. Then he had to retire and told me he was going into coaching in 2007.
Eddie was on the staff at the football club at the time in our sort of desperate need. And we had a choice. We could bring in, or a desire to bring in, an experienced manager, or you could give a young manager an opportunity.
It was difficult. I mean, it was a challenge that I didn't really want initially. When I was asked to become manager, although I was proud to be offered the role, it was with the situation we're in. I was hesitant as to whether I wanted to take it on. I'd seen the club be a huge part of my life, and I didn't want those positive feelings to be replaced by negativity. And as a manager, if you're not getting results, people aren't going to like you. With the situation that we're in, I didn't want to be the guy that took the club into the conference. So there was a lot of negative scenarios that could have happened. And one of my mottos in life had always been to try and be positive and in difficult situations. We came into a stage of the season when I was appointed manager where we were fighting to stay in the league. So my first task in management was to really galvanise the group and try and get the players to see that we were in a dire situation in respect of the league, a dire situation in respect of the longevity of the football club if we didn't succeed in our goal. So really it was hitting the players hard to say if we didn't do this, then the club may not exist. And I think that was such a huge motivating factor that the club was in its darkest hour. And we had a chance really to be remembered forever as the group of people that saved the club in that situation. And thankfully it did seem to have an effect that the players responded to it very well.
I think he's brilliant. I think he's very measured in his approach, doesn't get hysterical over things, and he's obviously done a fantastic job.
I have a bit of a personal connection with Fletch because he was the first guy I worked alongside really as summarising. And I always remember going back to 2002, that first season, the day that Bournemouth got relegated at Wrexham. He couldn't finish the commentary. He left 5 minutes from the end and said, I've got to go and be with my teammates. So he, from there I was like, okay, this guy really cares.
I met him, of course, as a player, so I would have been a young kid coming through the youth team, and he would have been at that stage probably an experienced player. I struggle to remember. Then I became a teammate with him and became close with him, and I think then you realise he's a special person and a real character and one of those people that when the chips are down you want with you.
Basically, the situation of the football club, I shouldn't have come back. If it had been any other manager, hand on heart, I wouldn't have come back because I regarded Eddie in such esteem and as a good friend of mine. And the persistency he had on the phone, phoning me every day, asking me to come back. There was 19 games of the season to go, we were 10 points adrift. And everybody kept saying, pinpointing these two fixtures, saying it'll come down to these last couple of fixtures and they're the teams in and around us, it'll be between us and them. And I was thinking, well, we're on a good run, hopefully we'll have it all done and dusted, but I was wrong and they were right, and it went down to the last game of the season at home against Grimsby.
We'd have gone out of business. The club was it would disappear. If we'd got relegated that year, it would have been no more.
We went 1-0 down at half-time, so things hadn't gone to plan. We had a full house here. The thought of what could happen if we went down, and the club, like say, going into liquidation with having no owner, nobody really in charge, half a dozen people working at the football club, doing the jobs of 20, 30 people. And then we came out second half, we got an early goal from Liam Feeney. Danny Hollands hit the bar and Liam rattled in the equaliser, and then from then on, some crazy positivity come over my brain and thought, this is your moment, you're going to score the winner. This is why you came back and sacrificed everything to come back and score this goal. And then time was clicking on. I think I'm still going to get a chance. I've got to get the one chance. I need it. This is my moment. I was 36 and I've been waiting all my career for this crazy moment. And the ball dropped to me in the box and I chested it down and volleyed it in. And ran down the line with my shirt off.
The script was only written that he would come up with the answer, wouldn't it? I mean, you see the celebrations now and the shirt whirring around in the air. I think that it couldn't have happened any other way that it would be Steve Fletcher who would get that goal.
It was just unbelievable. He would do anything to get his shirt off and show his six-pack. But even I would have run on the pitch and hugged him and tried to throw him in the air.
Relief sort of was the big emotion with everybody. And as I said, for me personally, I think it was a very emotional few hours.
In adversity, the supporters have come and saved the club. They've given the encouragement to people out there, to business people who perhaps are able to have the financial ability to actually come in and save it, but they're encouraged by the supporters and their love for the club. Otherwise, what's the point of saving it?
Don't really have to answer that, it's Eddie Howe. Simple as that. His vision, his thought process, everything he's brought to the club. Yeah, of course, all the staff members helping him, of course that, and obviously the owner and backing him, and so everyone's pulled together. But without Eddie in charge, I don't think we'd be sat now talking about the things we've experienced.
First of all, I think you need people that care about the club in order to save the club. It's not about the team actually on the pitch, it's about the team off the pitch. So you need people that are willing to do everything they can to, if you're not bringing enough money to break even, then you need someone willing to invest to keep the club afloat. That was Jeff Mostyn who did that. with his team of people around him, and then it's about building the infrastructure of a football club, getting the right manager, the right players, and the right spirit within the club to make sure you can be successful. We're lucky that we've had that unique blend that's come together at the right time. But yeah, I suppose the answer in full is you need special people working very hard to achieve your daily goals.
If you haven't got a desire to succeed and you can't work and be motivated by those around you, you'll never be successful. And I've just been blessed with the most amazing team, the most amazing family, the most amazing story, the most amazing football club.
And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.